Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Simple English Podcast. I'm Lisa, your host, and today we're diving into a really important topic, protecting the environment. We hear about climate change, pollution, and deforestation all the time, but why should we, as individuals, care? And what can we actually do about it? To help answer these questions, I'm joined by Alex, who's an environmental expert and passionate about sustainability. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Hi, Alex. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Lisa. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk about something that's so close to my heart.
Awesome. So, let's not waste any time and jump right into it. All right, Alex. I think a lot of people feel overwhelmed by all the talk about environmental problems. From your perspective, why is protecting the environment so important?
You're right, Lisa. There's a lot of information out there, and it can be overwhelming. But the truth is, the environment affects everything in our lives. We depend on nature for basics like food, water, and clean air. Without a healthy environment, it becomes harder to live a healthy life. Protecting it is really about protecting ourselves and future generations.
That's a great point. Sometimes it feels like the environment is something separate from us, but we're really part of it, right?
Exactly. We're part of the same system. When we pollute the air, we're breathing that air. When we harm ecosystems, we're affecting the food chain that we rely on. So it's all interconnected. One example is climate change. As the planet warms, we're seeing more extreme weather, floods, heat waves, wildfires. These events directly impact our lives, our homes, our food supply, and even our health.
And we're already seeing those changes now, right? It's not just something that will happen in the future.
Absolutely. It's not a future problem. It's happening right now. We're seeing glaciers melt, rising sea levels, stronger storms, and more droughts in many parts of the world. Just look at the wildfires we've had recently. These are warning signs that our environment is changing rapidly, and we need to act now to slow it down.
So what are some of the most critical things we need to do to help protect the environment? Can regular people really make a difference?
Yes, absolutely. It can feel like individual actions are small, but when millions of people make small changes, it adds up. One of the easiest ways to start is by reducing waste. Simple things like using reusable bags, bottles, and containers can reduce the amount of plastic pollution in our oceans. Another important step is cutting down on energy consumption. Using energy-efficient appliances, turning off lights when you don't need them, and supporting renewable energy sources are all effective ways to reduce your carbon footprint.
Those are great tips. But what about things we can't control, like big industries and corporations? How do they fit into this?
That's a good question. Big industries do play a huge role, and they're responsible for a large part of the world's pollution. But change can happen when we, as consumers, demand more sustainable practices. Support businesses that use eco-friendly products or energy. Also, it's important to use your voice. Vote for leaders and policies that prioritize environmental protection. Governments can create regulations that hold companies accountable, and public pressure can push corporations to act more responsibly.
So, it's a combination of individual action and larger systemic changes?
Exactly. We need both to make real progress. When individuals push for change, it creates a ripple effect that influences industries and governments. Every action counts.
All right, Alex. Now it's time for our fun fact segment. Can you share a cool or surprising fact about the environment with us?
Sure. Here's a fun one. Did you know that sloths are great environmentalists? They're so slow that algae grows on their fur. This actually helps them blend into their surroundings and avoid predators. And on top of that, the algae in their fur helps purify the air by absorbing carbon dioxide. So, sloths are not only adorable, but also doing their part for the planet.
That is amazing. Who would have thought sloths were so eco-friendly? They're like tiny green warriors.
And it just goes to show how nature has its own systems for balance, and we can learn a lot from it.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. I think you've really helped break down why protecting the environment is something we should all care about, and you've shown that it's not as overwhelming as it seems.
Thanks, Lisa. It was great to be here, and I hope listeners feel encouraged to take small steps toward helping the environment. Every action we take matters, no matter how small it may seem.
Definitely. So, to our listeners, let's remember, whether it's reducing plastic use, saving energy, or pushing for larger policy changes, we all have a role to play in protecting the planet. Together, we can make a difference. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic environment. Sustainability. Definition: the ability to maintain or preserve resources and ecological balance without depleting them for future generations. Example: sustainability means using energy sources like wind and solar power instead of fossil fuels to protect our planet. Biodiversity. Definition: the variety of plant and animal life in a particular habitat or in the world as a whole. Example: the Amazon rainforest is home to incredible biodiversity, with thousands of species found nowhere else. Deforestation. Definition: the large-scale removal of trees and forests, often to make way for agriculture or urban development. Example: deforestation in tropical areas is leading to loss of habitat for many endangered species. Carbon footprint. Definition: the total amount of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, that are emitted by human activities, typically measured per individual or organization. Example: you can reduce your carbon footprint by using public transport and recycling more. Renewable energy definition: energy that comes from natural sources that can be replenished, like sunlight, wind, and water. Example: countries are investing in renewable energy like solar and wind power to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. Ecosystem. Definition: a community of living organisms and their physical environment, interacting as a system. Example: coral reefs are one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world, supporting a wide range of marine life. Pollution. Definition: the introduction of harmful substances or products into the environment, causing damage to the natural world. Example: air pollution in major cities is a serious health risk due to high levels of smog and particulate matter. Greenhouse effect. Definition: the warming of Earth's surface due to gases in the atmosphere that trap heat, like carbon dioxide and methane. Example: the greenhouse effect is essential for life on Earth, but too much can lead to global warming. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Don't forget to leave a comment what you think about. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Simple English Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Simple English Podcast. I'm Lisa, and today we have an important topic to talk about: how the food we eat affects our brain. I think most of us already know that food is fuel for our bodies, but did you know it also affects how we think and feel? To help us understand more about this, I've invited a special guest today, Dr. Adam, who's a nutrition expert and knows a lot about how our diet impacts brain function. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm excited to be here and to share some useful information with everyone.
We're glad to have you. So, let's jump right in. Can you tell us in simple terms how what we eat actually affects our brain?
Of course. Our brain, just like the rest of our body, needs energy and nutrients to work properly. Think of it like a car. If you don't put in good fuel, the engine won't run smoothly. The same goes for our brain. The food we eat provides the fuel that our brain uses to think, remember things, and even manage our emotions.
That makes a lot of sense. So, if I'm eating a lot of unhealthy food, will my brain have trouble working properly?
Yes, exactly. If you eat a lot of processed foods, things like chips, sugary snacks, and fast food, it can slow down how your brain works. These foods don't have the nutrients your brain needs. Over time, eating this way can make it harder to concentrate, remember things, and can even affect your mood, making you feel more anxious or sad.
Wow, that's really important to know. So, what kinds of foods should we eat to keep our brain in top shape?
There are plenty of brain-friendly foods. First, you want to focus on healthy fats, like the kind you find in fish, nuts, and seeds. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are in salmon, flax seeds, and walnuts, are great for your brain. They help build brain cells and keep them healthy. Next, you should eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, especially colorful ones like berries, spinach, and broccoli. These are full of antioxidants, which protect your brain from damage caused by free radicals, kind of like rust on metal, but in your brain.
That's really interesting. I've heard people say, you are what you eat. But I didn't realize how true that is for our brain as well. Are there any other nutrients we should focus on?
Yes. Another important one is protein, which you can get from things like eggs, beans, and lean meat. Proteins break down into amino acids, which help produce neurotransmitters, chemicals in your brain that manage how you feel and think. Also, vitamins like B12 and folic acid are essential. They're found in leafy greens, eggs, and whole grains, and they help keep your brain sharp as you get older.
It sounds like eating a balanced diet isn't just good for your body, but also critical for your brain health. But let me ask you this. What about sugary foods and drinks? Are they really that bad for the brain?
Yes, unfortunately, sugar can have a negative effect on brain function. Too much sugar can lead to inflammation in the brain, which affects how your brain cells communicate. It's okay to have a little sugar, but if you eat too much, it can lead to problems like memory loss, mood swings, and even increase the risk of conditions like depression over time.
That's a great reason to cut back on sugary snacks. So basically, we need to focus on whole foods, healthy fats, fruits, veggies, lean proteins, and limit the junk food to keep our brain working well?
Exactly. It's all about balance. When you eat a variety of healthy foods, your brain gets everything it needs to function well and stay strong.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the show, the fun fact. Adam, do you have a fun fact for us today?
I do. Did you know that your brain uses about 20% of the calories you consume each day? Even though the brain makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it needs a lot of energy to keep you thinking, focusing, and even just relaxing.
20%? That's incredible. No wonder our food choices are so important for our brain. It's working hard all day, even when we don't realize it.
Exactly. It's constantly active, even when you're sleeping, so feeding it properly is key.
This has been such an enlightening conversation, Adam. Thank you so much for breaking down how the food we eat affects our brain in such simple terms.
You're welcome, Lisa. I'm glad to be here and share this information with everyone. It's so important to know that what we eat not only affects our bodies, but also our brain and mental health.
Absolutely. So, to all our listeners, remember, next time you're making a meal or grabbing a snack, think about how it will fuel your brain. A healthy diet isn't just good for your body, it helps your brain function better too. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word is nutrients. Definition: substances in food that help the body grow, stay healthy, and function properly. Example, fruits and vegetables are rich in essential nutrients like vitamins and minerals. Next word is omega-3 fatty acids. Definition, a type of healthy fat that is important for brain function, found in fish, flax seeds, and walnuts. Example, omega-3 fatty acids help protect brain cells and improve memory and focus. Next word is antioxidants. Definition, compounds that protect cells from damage caused by harmful molecules called free radicals. Example, berries are full of antioxidants that keep the brain healthy and prevent cell damage. Next word is neurotransmitters. Definition, chemicals in the brain that transmit signals between nerve cells, affecting mood and memory. Example, proteins from eggs and beans help produce neurotransmitters, essential for brain communication. Next word is inflammation. Definition, the body's response to injury or harmful substances, which can also occur in the brain. Example, excess sugar in the diet can cause inflammation in the brain, affecting memory and mood. Next word is glucose. Definition, a type of sugar that is the main energy source for the brain. Example, the brain needs glucose from healthy foods like whole grains to stay energized. Next word is cognitive function. Definition, the brain's ability to process information, including memory, thinking, and problem solving. Example, eating nutrient-rich foods can improve cognitive function and help with clearer thinking. Next word is free radicals. Definition, harmful molecules that can damage cells, including brain cells, leading to aging and disease. Example, antioxidants in spinach neutralize free radicals, protecting the brain from damage. The last word for today is folic acid. It is a type of B vitamin that helps with brain function and mental health. Example, leafy greens like spinach are rich in folic acid, supporting brain health and preventing memory loss. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Lisa, your host, and today we're going to talk about something that can truly change your life: the power of mindset. Staying positive and motivated every day can be a challenge, especially when things get tough. But the way we think can have a huge impact on how we feel and what we achieve. To help us understand more about the topic, I've invited James, our mindset expert. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm excited to talk about this. Mindset is such a powerful tool that anyone can use to live a better, happier life.
So, James, let's start with the basics. What is mindset, and why is it so important?
Mindset is basically the way you think. It's how you view challenges, failures, and successes in your life. There are two main types of mindset: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset means you believe your abilities are set and can't change. On the other hand, a growth mindset is when you believe you can improve and grow through effort and learning.
Ah, I see. So, how does having a growth mindset help us stay positive and motivated?
A growth mindset helps you see challenges as opportunities to learn rather than as obstacles. When you believe that you can improve, even through failure, you stay motivated to keep going. Instead of getting discouraged, you see every setback as a chance to grow. This keeps your attitude positive, even when things don't go as planned.
That sounds really empowering. But how do we develop a growth mindset if we don't already have one?
Good question. First, it's about being aware of your thoughts. If you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," or "I'm not good enough," try to reframe those thoughts. Instead, say, "I can learn this," or "I'll get better with practice." It's also important to focus on the process rather than the result. Celebrate the effort you're putting in, not just the final outcome. And remember, growth takes time.
That's great advice. So, for people who struggle with staying motivated, what tips can you give?
One of the best ways to stay motivated is to set small, achievable goals. Break big tasks into smaller steps. Each time you complete a step, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment, which motivates you to keep going. Also, surround yourself with positive influences, people who lift you up and inspire you. And don't forget to take care of yourself. Get enough sleep, eat well, and take breaks when you need them.
James, what role does self-talk play in maintaining a positive mindset?
Self-talk is incredibly important. It's basically the internal dialogue we have with ourselves throughout the day. Positive self-talk can help us stay motivated, while negative self-talk can bring us down. For example, when you face a challenge, if your self-talk is negative, like "I'll never get this right," you're more likely to give up. But if you change that to something like "This is tough, but I can figure it out," you're more likely to keep going. It's all about shifting your perspective.
That makes sense. So how can we start practicing positive self-talk if it doesn't come naturally to us?
One simple way is to be mindful of your thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking something negative, stop and ask yourself, is this thought really helping me? If not, reframe it. For example, instead of saying, "I failed," say, "I didn't succeed this time, but I learned something valuable." Another tip is to practice gratitude. Focusing on what's going right in your life, even small things, can shift your mindset to a more positive place.
Gratitude really is powerful. And I've heard people talk about visualization as a tool to stay motivated. Can you explain how that works?
Absolutely. Visualization is a technique where you picture yourself achieving your goals. It's a mental practice that can boost motivation and confidence. For example, athletes often visualize themselves winning a race or performing at their best before a competition. You can use the same idea in daily life. Imagine yourself succeeding in a project or handling a difficult situation with confidence. It primes your brain to believe it's possible, making you more likely to take positive action.
I love that. It's like you're training your brain for success.
Exactly. Your brain can't always tell the difference between something vividly imagined and reality, so visualization can be a powerful tool. It also helps you stay focused on your goals because you're constantly reminding yourself of what you're working toward.
Here's a fun fact. Did you know that studies have shown that just smiling can boost your mood, even if you don't feel happy?
Yes, it's true. Smiling sends signals to your brain that release chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, which are linked to happiness and relaxation. So, something as simple as smiling can actually help shift your mindset and make you feel more positive.
That's amazing. So next time I'm feeling down, I'll try smiling, even if I don't feel like it. Thanks so much, James, for sharing all this helpful information. It's clear that the power of mindset can really shape how we experience life, and staying positive and motivated starts with how we think.
Absolutely. Remember, mindset is something you can work on every day. It's all about being kind to yourself, believing in your ability to grow, and focusing on the journey, not just the destination.
Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word for today is mindset. It means the way a person thinks and views challenges, successes, and failures. Example: having a positive mindset helps you stay motivated even during tough times. Next word is motivation. It means the desire or willingness to do something, especially toward a goal. Example: setting small goals can help boost your motivation to keep going. Next word is challenge. It means a task or situation that tests someone's abilities. Example: challenges can help you grow if you approach them with a positive mindset. Next word is reframe. It means to change the way you look at a situation to see it more positively. Example: instead of seeing a mistake as failure, you can reframe it as a learning experience. Next word is positive influence. It means people or things that have a beneficial effect on your mood or mindset. Example: surrounding yourself with positive influences can help you stay motivated. Next word is goal. It means an aim or desired result that someone works toward. Example: breaking down your big goal into smaller steps can make it more achievable. Next word is self-care. It means the practice of taking action to improve or maintain one's mental and physical health. Example, self-care, like getting enough sleep and eating well, can improve your mindset. Next word is resilience. It means the ability to recover quickly from difficulties or setbacks. Example, building resilience helps you bounce back from challenges with a positive attitude. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Simple English Podcast channel, where we make big ideas super easy to understand. I'm Lisa, your host, and today we're talking about something huge. You've probably heard of it, maybe even used it today without knowing, artificial intelligence, or AI. Now, if you think AI is just for tech geeks, think again. AI is already shaping the way we live, work, and even have fun. Imagine a world where robots do most of your work, where your phone knows you better than your best friend, or where diseases get cured before you even feel sick. Sound crazy? Well, it's closer than you think. But what exactly is AI, and how will it change our world? To help us figure it all out, I'm joined by Jeremy, our tech expert, who's here to break it down for us. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this because AI is something that's not just part of our future. It's part of our right now.
Exactly. And guys, if you're thinking this is some far-off technology stuff, hold on. AI is already in your daily life, whether you realize it or not. From that Netflix recommendation, you just got to your smartphone's voice assistant. It's everywhere. And we're going to explore how it will shape the future even more. Stay tuned. This is going to be mind-blowing. Okay, Jeremy, let's start from the beginning. AI sounds like a big fancy term, but how would you explain it in simple words?
Great question, Lisa. In simple terms, AI, or artificial intelligence, is when computers or machines can think and learn in ways that are similar to humans. Think of it like teaching a machine to do things that would normally require human intelligence, like understanding language, recognizing pictures, or making decisions.
Ah, I see. So it's like giving a computer a brain to think?
Exactly. A good example is something like Siri or Alexa, voice assistants that listen to you and give you answers. They're using AI to understand your words, process them, and give you a response. AI learns from the data it gets to improve over time.
That's so cool. But AI isn't just about gadgets and apps, right? How is it going to change our world in a bigger way?
Oh, definitely. AI has the power to transform many industries. Take healthcare, for example. AI can help doctors diagnose diseases much faster than humans. For example, there are AI systems that can look at X-rays or scans and detect things like cancer earlier than doctors can. This could save lives.
That's amazing. So AI could help with faster diagnoses and even treatments?
Exactly. Imagine a future where you could get personalized medical treatment because an AI system understands your specific health needs better than any human doctor. It can also monitor you 24/7 through smart devices, checking for any signs of illness before you even know something's wrong.
Wow, that's really incredible. But besides healthcare, AI is also changing the way we work, right?
Absolutely. AI is already being used in industries like manufacturing and transportation. Think about self-driving cars. AI systems are what make these cars able to drive themselves, understanding traffic, road signs, and other cars on the road. In factories, AI robots are performing repetitive tasks, helping companies make products faster and more efficiently.
So, does that mean AI will take over jobs from people?
That's one of the biggest concerns, and it's true that some jobs may be replaced by AI, especially jobs that involve doing the same thing over and over. For example, factory workers or drivers might be affected as AI systems become more advanced. But at the same time, new jobs will be created in areas like AI programming, machine maintenance, and data analysis.
It's like we're at the beginning of a big shift in the workforce. People might need to learn new skills to work alongside AI, right?
Exactly. There will always be jobs that require human creativity, emotion, and decision-making. AI can do many things, but it can't be truly creative or emotionally intelligent in the way humans are. Jobs in art, teaching, counseling, and management will still need the human touch.
All right, it's time for a fun fact. Jeremy, did you know that AI was actually created way back in 1956?
That's right. It all started at a conference in Dartmouth College, where scientists first came together to talk about the idea of thinking machines. The first AI was actually used to play checkers.
Checkers? That's pretty funny. So, AI has come a long way since then, huh?
Oh yeah, back then, AI could only do basic things like play games. Today, we have AI systems that can do much more complicated tasks, like diagnosing diseases or driving cars. It's really amazing to see how far we've come in just a few decades.
Well, Jeremy, this has been such a fascinating conversation. We've covered a lot of ground. How AI is already in our lives, how it's changing industries like healthcare and transportation, and even how it might change the way we work in the future.
Absolutely. AI is one of the most powerful tools we've ever created. It's going to bring big changes, some of which we're just starting to see now. It's an exciting time to be alive.
It really is. But like you said earlier, while AI will replace some jobs, it will also create new opportunities, and it's up to us to be ready for those changes.
Exactly. People will need to learn new skills, but I think AI will make our lives better overall. We'll be able to do things faster and smarter, leaving us more time for the things that really matter.
That's a great takeaway, Jeremy. Thank you so much for joining us today and helping us understand how AI will change the world.
My pleasure, Lisa. I hope everyone listening is as excited about AI as I am.
And to all our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more simple explanations on big topics. Leave us a comment and let us know, how do you think AI will change your life? Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Simple English Podcast. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is artificial intelligence, AI. It means the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think, learn, and solve problems like humans. Example: AI is used in smartphones to recognize voices and respond to commands, like Siri and Google Assistant. Next word is algorithm. It means a step-by-step set of instructions or rules used by computers to solve problems or perform tasks. Example: social media platforms use algorithms to decide which posts you see in your feed. Next word is machine learning. It means a branch of AI where machines learn from data and improve their performance without being explicitly programmed. Example: Netflix uses machine learning to recommend movies and TV shows based on what you've watched before. Next word is neural network. It means a type of AI that mimics the human brain structure and functioning to recognize patterns and make decisions. Example: neural networks are used in facial recognition software to identify people in photos. Next word is natural language processing, NLP. It means a field of AI that helps computers understand, interpret, and respond to human language. Example: chatbots on websites use natural language processing to understand customer questions and provide answers. Next word is big data. It means extremely large sets of data that can be analyzed by computers to reveal patterns, trends, and associations. Example: AI uses big data to predict consumer behavior and recommend products in online stores. The last word of today is deep learning. It means a type of machine learning involving layers of neural networks that analyze data and make complex decisions. Example: deep learning is used in self-driving cars to help them recognize objects like pedestrians and traffic signs. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comment section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Simple English Podcast, where we help you improve your English skills one episode at a time. I'm your host, Lisa, and today we have a special guest joining us. We're talking about something that every English learner wants to know, how to speak English fluently. But here's the big tip. You need to think in English first. Sounds interesting, right?
Absolutely, Lisa. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian. I've been teaching English for over 10 years, and today I'm excited to share some practical tips on how you can train your brain to think in English. Trust me, it's one of the most powerful ways to become fluent.
Yes, it is. So, if you're struggling with speaking, or maybe you find yourself translating from your native language before you speak, this episode is for you. We'll explain why thinking in English is the key, how to do it, and of course, we'll share some fun facts along the way to keep things interesting. Let's dive right in. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Brian, let's start with the basics. Why do you think learning to think in English is so important for fluency?
That's a great question, Lisa. The main reason is that when you think in English, you cut out the middle step of translating. Translation takes time and can lead to mistakes. When you think directly in English, your responses are faster and more natural. You don't have to pause and figure out how to say something because you've already got the thought in English.
It's like training your brain to think automatically in English, right?
Exactly. Imagine you're in a conversation and someone asks you a simple question like, "What's your favorite food?" If you think in your native language first, you'll have to mentally translate the answer like, "Oh, in my language, this is how I say it," and then turn it into English. By the time you're ready to speak, the conversation may have moved on. But if you're already thinking in English, you can quickly respond, "I love pizza," or "My favorite food is sushi." It keeps the flow natural.
Yes, I've had those moments where I'm stuck thinking about how to say something, and by the time I figure it out, the topic has changed.
Exactly. And that's one of the main frustrations learners face. But when you train your brain to think in English, you'll find yourself responding more smoothly, without those awkward pauses.
That's so true. Now, for someone who's just starting to work on thinking in English, how can they begin? I mean, thinking in a new language sounds a bit difficult at first.
It can feel challenging, but there are some simple ways to start. One of the easiest methods is to narrate your daily activities in English. For example, when you wake up in the morning, think to yourself, "I am brushing my teeth," "I am making coffee," or "I am getting ready for work." These are simple thoughts, but over time, you'll get used to thinking in English without even realizing it.
I love that idea. So, it's about building a habit by talking to yourself in your head, right?
Yes, exactly. And as you get more comfortable, you can start thinking about more complex things. For example, if you're at work, you could think, "What do I need to do today?" Or "How should I approach this task?" This builds your vocabulary and helps you practice using English for more than just basic thoughts.
That's really practical advice. And what about when learners don't know a word in English? Should they stop and look it up or just keep going?
Good question. I always tell my students not to stop if they don't know a word. Instead, try to use simpler language to explain it. For example, let's say you don't know the word microwave. Instead of stopping to look it up, think of how to explain it. "The machine that heats my food quickly." That way, you're still thinking and speaking in English, even though it's not the exact word.
That makes so much sense. You're keeping the flow of English going in your mind rather than interrupting it.
Exactly. The goal is to keep your brain in English mode, even if you don't have the perfect word. The more you practice, the more words you'll naturally learn. And when you look up those words later, you'll remember them better, because you had to actively think around them.
I think a lot of learners get stuck trying to be perfect with every word. But it's more important to keep thinking in English rather than worry about exact translations, right?
That's exactly it. It's all about progress, not perfection. You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. Fluency means being able to communicate ideas easily and smoothly, even if you don't know every single word. Over time, as you build your vocabulary, the words will come.
That's encouraging. And what about silent conversations? I've heard you mention this technique before. Can you explain how it works?
Absolutely. A silent conversation is simply talking to yourself in your head. It's a great way to practice thinking in English when you're alone. Let's say you're walking to the store. You can ask yourself questions like, what do I need to buy? Or what should I have for dinner tonight? Then try to answer them in English. This way, you're practicing conversation without needing a partner.
That sounds like a really useful exercise. You're basically training your brain to keep thinking in English, no matter where you are.
Exactly. And the great thing is, you can do this anytime, anywhere. Whether you're on the bus, waiting in line, or even exercising, you can have a silent conversation with yourself. It's a simple, no-pressure way to improve your English thinking skills.
And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes, right?
Yes, with consistent practice, your brain will start to automatically think in English without you even trying. It becomes a habit. At first, it might take effort, but over time, it'll feel natural, just like thinking in your native language.
I love that. It's like building any other habit. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And what about immersing yourself in English environments? Does that help with thinking in English too?
Definitely. Immersion is one of the best ways to get your brain into English thinking mode. This could be as simple as listening to English podcasts, watching TV shows in English, or even reading books. The more English you hear and see around you, the more your brain gets used to processing the language.
So, even if you're not living in an English-speaking country, you can still create that environment for yourself.
Exactly. For example, if you like watching YouTube videos, try switching to English content. Or if you enjoy listening to music, choose English songs. It's all about surrounding yourself with the language so your brain has more opportunities to practice.
That's great advice. It's all about making English a part of your everyday life. So, to recap, thinking in English is about cutting out translation, practicing simple daily thoughts, having silent conversations, and surrounding yourself with the language. Is that right?
Exactly. And remember, it doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you'll see real progress. Just keep at it, and soon enough, you'll notice yourself thinking and speaking in English naturally.
That's so inspiring. Thank you for breaking it down so clearly, Brian. Okay, let's take a little break for a fun fact, Brian. Did you know that children usually start thinking in their second language after just 1 year of consistent exposure, while adults take longer?
Wow, that's fascinating. It's probably because children aren't afraid of making mistakes, and they're always learning through play and interaction. But the good news is, even as adults, we can still train our brains to think in English with practice.
Exactly. It might take more effort for adults, but it's definitely possible. So, listeners, don't be discouraged if it feels tough at first. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you practice thinking in English, the easier it gets. Brian, this has been so helpful. To wrap things up, let's do a quick recap. Why is thinking in English the secret to fluency?
Well, thinking in English helps you respond faster and more naturally in conversations. It also cuts out the translation step, which can slow you down and lead to mistakes. And remember, it's something you can practice daily by describing your actions, having silent conversations with yourself, or even labeling things around you in English.
Such great advice. And if you're listening today, remember, the key to fluency isn't just speaking more, but thinking in English too. Thank you so much for joining us today, Brian.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
And thank you, listeners. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who's learning English. And let us know in the comments. Are you already thinking in English? What challenges do you face? We'd love to hear from you. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is native speaker. It means a person who speaks a language as their first language. Example, to speak like a native speaker, try to think in English rather than your own language. Next word is environment. It means the conditions that surround someone. In language learning, it refers to the language atmosphere you create around you. Example: creating an English-speaking environment can help you think in English throughout the day. Next word is expression. It means a word or phrase used to convey an idea, feeling, or thought. Example: learning common expressions in English helps you think and communicate faster. Next word is silent conversation. It means talking to yourself mentally without speaking out loud, useful for practicing a language. Example: having silent conversations in English while walking can improve your fluency. Next word is immersion. It means the method of learning a language by surrounding yourself with it in everyday life. Example: watching English TV shows and listening to English podcasts help create an immersive environment. The last word of today is context. It means the situation or background information that helps explain the meaning of something. Example: understanding the context of a sentence makes it easier to think in English without translating. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Simple English Podcast. I'm your host Lisa, and today we have a really exciting topic. Are you ready to supercharge your life? Because today we're going to talk about how you can boost your productivity and creativity. These two things can take you to the next level, whether you're working, studying, or just trying to make your life a little bit better. And joining me is a special guest, Leo, an expert in productivity and creativity. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Hi Leo, how are you today?
Hi, Lisa. I'm doing great. Really excited to talk about this topic. It's something everyone can improve in, no matter where they are in life.
Absolutely. And I think we all know that feeling of wanting to do more but sometimes getting stuck, or feeling like our ideas aren't coming. So if you're listening and you want tips that can help you be more productive and creative, stay with us because we've got some good stuff coming your way. So Leo, let's jump right in. When we talk about productivity and creativity, these two are often seen as separate things. But are they connected?
Great question, Lisa. They're absolutely connected. Think about it this way. Being productive means you're getting things done efficiently, right? But to get things done in a way that's interesting, original, or even fun, that's where creativity comes in. For example, imagine someone who's writing a report for work. You can get it done quickly, but if you add creative ideas, you'll make it more engaging and memorable for the reader.
That makes so much sense. So it's not just about getting more done, but also doing it in a way that stands out.
Exactly. And one way to boost both productivity and creativity is by setting aside time for brainstorming. Let's say you have a task. You give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to just think of different ways to approach it. Even if some ideas seem silly, they can lead to something new and creative. And this method also helps you get focused, making you more productive.
That's a great tip. I've also heard people talk about taking breaks to stay productive. What do you think about that?
Yes, breaks are essential. A lot of people feel guilty when they take breaks, but the truth is our brains need rest to stay sharp. Taking short, regular breaks helps recharge your brain and can even boost your creativity. A good example is the Pomodoro technique. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. After a few cycles, you take a longer break. It helps keep your mind fresh.
I've tried that technique, and it really does help. Now, let's talk about distractions. We live in a world where it's easy to get distracted. Our phones, social media, notifications. How do we stay productive in such a distracting world?
Yeah, distractions are a huge challenge. One simple thing people can do is to turn off notifications when they're working. Also, creating a dedicated workspace can help. For example, if you're working from home, set up a space that's only for work. It trains your brain to focus when you're there. And a great creative tip: sometimes moving your workspace or changing environments, like going to a cafe, can spark new ideas.
I love that idea. Switching up your environment can really change how you think. Speaking of changing environments, does physical activity help with creativity?
Oh, absolutely. Exercise is a great way to clear your mind and get those creative juices flowing. When you move your body, you're increasing blood flow to the brain, which helps you think better. Some of my best ideas come when I'm out for a walk.
Time for a fun fact, Leo. Did you know that some of the most creative people in history had really interesting routines?
Yes. For example, did you know that Albert Einstein played the violin to help him think through difficult problems? And Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, often took long walks when he needed to come up with new ideas. It's a reminder that creativity doesn't always happen when you're sitting at a desk.
Wow, that's so interesting. So even geniuses need a change of pace sometimes. So, to sum it up, boosting your productivity and creativity isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. We talked about taking breaks, finding new ways to think about tasks, and even moving your body to spark creativity. These are all simple changes anyone can make.
Yes, exactly. You don't need to overhaul your life to see improvements. Small changes, like turning off notifications or setting aside time for brainstorming, can make a big difference over time.
Thank you so much, Leo, for all these great tips. I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot today.
My pleasure, Lisa. I hope everyone listening can take away at least one new idea to try in their own life.
And that's all for today's episode of the Simple English Podcast. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And let us know in the comments, what do you do to stay productive and creative? Until next time, take care and keep improving. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is productivity. It means the ability to get tasks done efficiently, usually within a set amount of time. Example: improving your productivity can help you finish more tasks in less time. Next word is creativity. It means the ability to come up with new and original ideas or ways of doing things. Example: creativity allows people to find unique solutions to common problems. Next word is brainstorming. It means a process of generating ideas freely without judgment, often to solve a problem or plan a project. Example: we had a brainstorming session to come up with new marketing ideas. Next word is efficiency. It means achieving maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or resources. Example: using a to-do list is a great way to improve your efficiency at work. Next word is distractions. It means things that take your attention away from what you are supposed to be doing. Example: turning off notifications helps reduce distractions and keeps you focused. Next word is multitasking. It means the ability to handle more than one task at the same time. Example: while multitasking might seem efficient, focusing on one task at a time often leads to better results. Next word is innovation. It means the process of introducing new ideas, methods, or products. Example: innovation in the workplace can lead to more creative solutions and improved productivity. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Simple English Podcast, where we make learning easy and fun. I'm Lisa, your host, and today's topic is something I think we all deal with: stress. Have you ever had days where you feel overwhelmed, tired, or just not yourself? We all have, right? But do you know why this happens? What's really going on in your body and mind when you're stressed? Today, we're going to break down how stress affects both your physical and mental health. To help us understand it better, we have David here with us. David is an expert in health and wellness, and he's going to explain what stress does to us and why managing it is so important. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Hi, David. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me on the show. Stress is definitely something we all experience, but many people don't realize just how much it can affect our bodies and minds. I'm excited to break it all down for your listeners today.
I'm sure our listeners will find this super helpful. And for those listening, make sure you stay tuned because later in the episode, we'll share a fun fact about stress that might surprise you. So let's dive in. David, can you start by explaining what happens in the body when we feel stressed?
Sure. When you're stressed, your body goes into something called fight or flight mode. This is your body's natural response to danger. Let's imagine for a moment that you're walking in the woods and suddenly a big bear jumps out. Your brain immediately senses the danger, and it prepares your body to either run away or fight the bear. Obviously, most of us would run.
I'd definitely be running too.
Exactly. So what happens next is your brain sends signals to your body to release stress hormones, like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones prepare your muscles, increase your heart rate, and make you breathe faster. All of this is your body's way of getting ready to either fight or run, hence the name fight or flight.
Wow. So that's why your heart starts beating really fast when you're scared or stressed. But what about daily life? We're not facing bears every day. So why do we feel stressed in situations like work or school?
That's a great point. Even though we're not facing life-threatening situations like bears or lions, our body reacts to modern stress in the same way. For example, if you have a big presentation at work, or if you're late for an important meeting, your body still goes into that fight or flight mode, even though the situation isn't dangerous in the same way.
So even something like a tough deadline or a lot of homework can trigger that response?
Exactly. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real physical threat, like a bear, and a mental or emotional challenge, like a stressful day at work or school. The same stress hormones are released, and your body goes through the same physical changes. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tense up, and your brain stays on high alert. This is useful in the short term, like if you need to focus and get through a difficult situation. But when stress lasts for a long time, it can be harmful.
So what happens if we're stressed all the time? Like if we're always dealing with deadlines or personal problems, does that put too much pressure on our bodies?
Yes, and that's the problem with chronic stress. When you're stressed all the time, your body stays in fight or flight mode for too long. That can lead to serious health problems. For example, stress can raise your blood pressure, which increases the risk of heart disease. It can also weaken your immune system, making it harder for your body to fight off illness. That's why people who are constantly stressed often get sick more easily.
Wow, that's pretty scary. So stress can actually make us physically sick?
Yes, it can. Stress affects more than just your mind. It impacts your entire body. It can cause headaches, stomach problems, and trouble sleeping. And over time, it can even lead to bigger problems like heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic conditions.
I've heard people say that they get a stress headache. So that's a real thing, right?
Absolutely. When you're stressed, the muscles in your neck and shoulders can tense up, which can lead to headaches. Stress also affects your digestive system. That's why some people feel sick to their stomachs when they're anxious or worried.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. But stress doesn't just affect the body, right? What about the mind?
You're right. Stress can have a big impact on your mental health too. When you're stressed, it can be hard to focus, make decisions, or even remember things. This happens because stress affects the part of your brain called the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory and learning. Over time, chronic stress can also lead to anxiety and depression.
So it's not just about feeling overwhelmed. It actually changes how your brain works?
Exactly. Chronic stress can shrink parts of your brain, making it harder to handle new challenges. That's why it's so important to manage stress before it becomes too much to handle.
Now that we've talked about all the serious effects of stress, let's take a quick break for our fun fact of the day.
Sounds good. Did you know that not all stress is bad for you?
Really? That's surprising.
Yes, there's something called eustress, which is positive stress. This kind of stress helps motivate you and can actually improve your performance. For example, when you're about to give a presentation or take part in a competition, a little bit of stress can help you stay focused and energized. It's your body's way of getting you ready to perform at your best.
That's really interesting. So a little stress can be helpful?
Exactly. The key is balance. Too much stress is harmful, but a little stress can push you to succeed, whether you're studying for an exam, training for a race, or working on a big project.
I guess that's why some people say they work better under pressure. It's that positive stress.
That's right, but of course, we don't want too much of it, or it turns into negative stress.
Well, this has been a really eye-opening discussion. We've learned so much about how stress affects both our body and mind. It's amazing, and a little scary, how something we all experience every day can have such a big impact on our health.
It is. Stress is a natural part of life, but the important thing is how we manage it. Things like regular exercise, practicing relaxation techniques like meditation or deep breathing, and taking time for yourself can really help reduce stress.
That's great advice, David. I hope our listeners take these tips to heart and find ways to manage their stress before it becomes harmful. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just to remind everyone that stress is something we all deal with, and it's okay to feel stressed from time to time, but it's important to listen to your body and mind and take action when you start to feel overwhelmed. Small changes in your daily routine can make a big difference in how you handle stress.
Thank you so much, David. This has been such an informative and helpful conversation. And to all our listeners, we hope you've learned something new today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Simple English Podcast. We've got more interesting topics coming your way, so stay tuned.
Thanks, Lisa. It was great being here.
Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is stress. It means a physical or emotional response to a challenging or demanding situation. Example: work deadlines often cause me a lot of stress, especially when there's not enough time. Next word is fight or flight. It means the body's automatic response to danger, preparing to either confront or escape the threat. Example: when she saw the dog running toward her, her body went into fight or flight mode. Next word is cortisol. It means a hormone released by the body in response to stress. Example: long-term stress can cause your body to produce too much cortisol, leading to health issues. Next word is adrenaline. It means a hormone that increases heart rate and energy levels, especially in stressful or exciting situations. Example: before the big presentation, I could feel the adrenaline kicking in. Next word is chronic. It means something that lasts for a long time or happens frequently, like long-term stress. Example: chronic stress can lead to health problems such as high blood pressure. Next word is immune system. It means the body's defense system that protects against illness and infections. Example: stress can weaken your immune system, making you more likely to get sick. Next word is tension. It means a state of tightness or strain, often felt in the body due to stress. Example: after a long day, I often feel tension in my shoulders and neck. Next word is anxiety. It means a feeling of worry or fear, often caused by stress. Example: too much stress at work can lead to anxiety and trouble sleeping. The last word of today is relaxation techniques. It means methods used to calm the mind and body, reducing stress. Example: deep breathing and meditation are relaxation techniques that can help manage stress. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comment section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Simple English podcast, where we learn together in a fun and easy way. I'm your host, and today we're going to talk about something that a lot of people enjoy every day. Can you guess what it is? It's coffee. Yes, that warm, comforting drink that helps so many of us wake up and start the day. But did you know that coffee has more benefits than just waking you up? Today, we're going to dig deeper into why coffee is more than just a morning ritual. And to help us with that, we have a very special guest, John, who is a nutritionist and an expert in healthy living. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Welcome to the podcast, John.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about coffee because, believe it or not, coffee can be quite good for you in many ways.
I know. I'm a coffee lover myself, and I bet many of our listeners are too. So stick around, everyone, because you're going to learn some surprising facts about how coffee can actually be good for your health. Let's dive right in. So, John, we all know that coffee helps us stay awake, especially when we're feeling tired. But what are some other benefits that coffee brings to the table?
Great question, Lisa. Yes, coffee is most famous for its ability to keep us alert, thanks to caffeine, but there's more to the story. For example, did you know that coffee is packed with antioxidants?
Antioxidants? That's interesting. What do they do?
Antioxidants are like little bodyguards for your cells. They help protect your body from damage caused by harmful molecules called free radicals. Coffee is actually one of the largest sources of antioxidants in many people's diets, especially if they don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Wow, so coffee is like a healthy drink in disguise?
In a way, yes. Of course, like anything, it's important to drink it in moderation. But if you enjoy your coffee without too much sugar or cream, it can really benefit your body. For example, some studies have shown that drinking coffee can lower the risk of certain diseases, like Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's.
That's amazing. It sounds like coffee is good for your brain, too.
Exactly. Caffeine, the main ingredient in coffee, helps improve brain function. It can make you more alert, help you focus, and even improve your mood. That's why many people reach for a cup of coffee when they're working or studying.
I totally agree. I remember during my college days, coffee was my best friend during late-night study sessions.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. Coffee has also been shown to reduce the risk of depression in some people. There's something about that warm cup of coffee that lifts your spirits, especially on a tough day.
It's like a little mood booster, right?
Exactly. And there's more. Coffee can also be good for your physical health. Drinking coffee has been linked to a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. It seems that coffee helps your body use insulin better, which helps regulate your blood sugar levels.
That's so important, especially with how many people around the world are affected by diabetes. It's incredible how something as simple as coffee can help.
It is. And here's another benefit that might surprise you. Coffee may help protect your liver. People who drink coffee regularly have a lower risk of liver diseases like cirrhosis and liver cancer.
Wow, John, I had no idea coffee could do all that. It really is a super drink. But are there any downsides?
Well, like I said earlier, moderation is key. Too much coffee can lead to problems like insomnia, nervousness, or even an upset stomach. And, of course, if you add too much sugar or cream, you're adding extra calories and fat, which isn't great for your health. So, it's best to enjoy coffee in a balanced way.
This has been really eye-opening. I think it's time for a little fun fact, don't you? Did you know that coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world after oil?
Really? That's impressive.
Yes, coffee is loved all over the world, and people drink about 2.25 billion cups of coffee every day. It's amazing to think that something so simple brings so many people together across the globe.
That's incredible. And it shows just how important coffee is, not only to our daily routines, but also to the world economy.
Well, John, this has been such an informative conversation. I think I've learned more about coffee today than I ever imagined.
I'm glad. Coffee is definitely more than just a quick energy boost. When enjoyed in moderation, it can be part of a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely. So, to all our listeners out there, next time you enjoy your morning coffee, remember, you're not just waking up, you're also doing something good for your body and mind. Just don't forget to drink it in moderation.
That's right. And for those who aren't coffee drinkers, there's no pressure. Everyone's different, and there are plenty of other ways to stay healthy.
Exactly. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Simple English Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
And thank you to all our listeners. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you a coffee lover or do you prefer something else? Let us know. And as always, keep learning, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is caffeine. It means a natural stimulant found in coffee, tea, and some other drinks that helps increase alertness. Example: caffeine in coffee helps you stay awake and focused during the day. Next word is antioxidants. It means substances that protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals, which can lead to aging and diseases. Example: coffee is rich in antioxidants, which can help protect your body from certain diseases. Next word is insulin. It means a hormone that regulates the amount of sugar in your blood, helping to prevent diabetes. Example: drinking coffee may help improve how your body uses insulin, reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes. Next word is metabolism. It means the process by which your body converts food and drinks into energy. Example: caffeine can increase your metabolism, helping you burn more calories throughout the day. Next word is moderation. It means the act of doing something within reasonable limits, not too much or too little. Example: it's important to drink coffee in moderation to avoid side effects like insomnia or nervousness. Next word is Alzheimer's disease. It means a progressive disease that affects memory and thinking skills, often in older adults. Example: studies suggest that coffee may lower the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease in the future. Next word is alertness. It means the state of being awake and attentive, often after consuming caffeine. Example: a cup of coffee in the morning can improve your alertness and help you focus on tasks. The last word of today is depression. It means a mental health condition that involves persistent sadness and loss of interest in activities. Example: research shows that drinking coffee might reduce the risk of depression by improving your mood. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Simple English Podcast. I'm Lisa, and today we're talking about something super important: sleep. Yes, sleep. It's something we all do, but many of us aren't doing it right. Have you ever woken up and felt more tired than when you went to bed? Or do you find it hard to sleep even though you're exhausted? Well, today's episode is just for you. With me today is Ryan, a wellness coach who's going to help us learn how to sleep better and wake up full of energy. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comments section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm excited to be here because sleep is one of the most important things we can do for our bodies. Most people don't realize how much better life can be with just a little more sleep or by improving the quality of their rest.
Absolutely. And for our listeners today, make sure to stay tuned because we'll be sharing some easy and practical tips that anyone can use to improve their sleep starting tonight. Let's dive in. All right, Ryan, let's start by talking about why sleep is so important. I've heard that sleep affects everything from our mood to how well we work. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure, Lisa. Sleep is when our body repairs itself. It's like hitting the reset button. If we don't get enough quality sleep, we might feel tired, cranky, or even find it hard to concentrate. Over time, lack of sleep can lead to more serious problems like a weak immune system, weight gain, or even mental health issues.
Wow, that sounds serious. And what about energy levels? Sometimes I feel like I've slept a full 8 hours, but I still wake up feeling tired. What's going on there?
Great question. Sleep isn't just about the hours, it's about the quality. You could sleep for 8 hours, but if the sleep is interrupted or if you don't go through the proper sleep cycles, like deep sleep and REM, you might still wake up feeling tired. Things like stress, too much screen time, or eating heavy meals right before bed can mess with your sleep quality.
That makes a lot of sense. So, what can we do to improve our sleep quality?
There are some simple changes we can make. First, try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. This helps your body's internal clock, also called the circadian rhythm, get into a routine. Second, create a relaxing bedtime routine. Dim the lights, read a book, or do something calming to signal to your body that it's time to sleep. And lastly, make sure your sleep environment is good. Your bedroom should be dark, quiet, and cool.
I love those tips. I actually tried avoiding screens before bed last week, and it really helped me fall asleep faster. And speaking of routines, I remember you mentioning something about morning habits. Does how we wake up affect our energy?
Absolutely, Lisa. How you start your morning can set the tone for the whole day. One tip is to get some sunlight as soon as you wake up. It helps to tell your body it's time to be alert. Also, avoid hitting the snooze button. When you snooze, you're only delaying the wake-up process and making yourself feel groggier. Get up, stretch, maybe drink a glass of water, and move your body a little.
That's a good one. I'm definitely guilty of hitting snooze a few too many times. So, to sum up, improving sleep means setting a consistent routine, winding down in the evening, and starting the morning with good habits. Got it! Before we continue, Ryan, I think it's time for our fun fact segment. Did you know that humans spend about 1/3 of their lives sleeping?
That's right. It sounds like a lot, but sleep is so important that it makes sense. Here's another fun fact. The record for the longest time without sleep is 11 days. A high school student named Randy Gardner set the record in 1964 for a science experiment. But I don't recommend trying it.
Oh, wow, I can't even imagine how exhausted he must have been after that. Sleep is definitely not something to skip, that's for sure. Ryan, thank you so much for sharing all these helpful tips today. I know I'm going to try setting a better routine for myself starting tonight. For our listeners, let's quickly recap. To sleep better, make sure you're consistent with your sleep schedule, create a calming bedtime routine, and start your mornings with sunlight and no snoozing. Did I miss anything, Ryan?
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. One last thing I'll add is be patient with yourself. Changing your sleep habits might take time, but stick with it, and you'll notice the difference. You'll wake up feeling more refreshed and ready to take on the day.
Thanks again, Ryan, and thank you to everyone listening today. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you'll start improving your sleep tonight. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this episode with someone who might need these tips. And of course, subscribe to stay updated with more great episodes. See you next time.
Bye, everyone, and sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams indeed. Take care, everyone. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is circadian rhythm. It means the natural internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle and repeats roughly every 24 hours. Example: going to bed at the same time every night helps regulate your circadian rhythm. Next word is REM sleep. It means a stage of sleep characterized by rapid eye movement, where dreaming occurs and the brain is highly active. Example: REM sleep is crucial for memory and learning. Next word is melatonin. It means a hormone that helps regulate sleep by signaling to the brain that it's time to rest. Example: melatonin levels rise in the evening, helping you fall asleep naturally. Next word is sleep cycle. It means a series of stages of sleep, including light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, that repeat throughout the night. Example: a full sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes and is crucial for proper rest. Next word is insomnia. It means a sleep disorder where a person has trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. Example: many people suffer from insomnia due to stress or anxiety. Next word is sleep apnea. It means a serious sleep disorder where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep. Example: sleep apnea can lead to poor sleep quality and fatigue during the day. Next word is sleep deprivation. It means the condition of not getting enough sleep, either in duration or quality, leading to negative health effects. Example: chronic sleep deprivation can affect your mood, memory, and health. The last word of today is NREM sleep. It means non-rapid eye movement sleep, a deep and restful stage of sleep that is important for physical restoration. Example: NREM sleep is when your body repairs muscles and tissues. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to the English Podcast. I'm your host Lisa, and today we have a topic that I know will help a lot of you. Whether you're a student, a professional, or just someone who loves learning new things, we all want to know the secret. How can we learn and remember anything easily? I have a special guest with me today, Michael, who is an expert in memory and learning strategies. We'll be talking about tips, tricks, and proven methods to help you learn faster and make the information stick. Sounds good, right? Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comments section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode.
Hey Lisa, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about today's conversation because learning is something we all do every day. Whether it's at school, work, or just in life, learning is constant. But the challenge is how to do it more efficiently, right?
Exactly. I think everyone wants to know the secret. Sometimes we read something and the next day it's gone, but today we're going to change that. So stay tuned because by the end of this episode, you'll have the tools to make learning easier and more fun. So, Michael, let's dive right in. We all know that learning can sometimes feel hard or overwhelming, but are there really ways to make it easier?
Absolutely, Lisa. The truth is, learning is a skill, just like playing a musical instrument or a sport. And like any skill, the more you practice the right techniques, the better you get. One key technique is called spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition? What's that?
It's a simple but powerful method. Basically, you review information at increasing intervals over time. For example, instead of cramming all your study into one night, you review it today, then again in 2 days, then a week later. This strengthens your memory. because you're allowing time for the information to settle in your brain.
Wow, that makes sense. It's like letting the information breathe a little.
Exactly. It's like planting a seed. If you water it a little every few days, it grows stronger than if you drown it with water all at once. Studies have shown that spaced repetition is one of the most effective ways to remember things long term.
That's a great tip. So, what about when we're trying to learn something that feels too complex or difficult to understand? What should we do?
When information feels overwhelming, it helps to break it down into smaller, manageable parts. This is called chunking. For example, if you're trying to memorize a long number like 147852369, it's much easier to remember if you break it into chunks like 147852369. The same applies to studying. Instead of trying to memorize 10 pages of notes in one go, break it down into smaller sections.
I love that. It feels less scary when you break things down. Do you have any examples of people using these techniques?
Sure, let's take language learning as an example. People who are learning a new language often feel overwhelmed by all the new words and grammar rules. But if you learn just 5 new words a day and review them using spaced repetition, you'll remember more in a month than if you try to learn 100 words in one day. Slow and steady wins the race.
That's really motivating. What about memory tricks? I've heard people use something called memory palaces. Is that real?
Yes, memory palaces are another powerful technique. The idea is to visualize a place you know well, like your home, and associate each room or object with a piece of information you want to remember. Let's say you're trying to memorize a shopping list. You might imagine putting apples in your living room, bread in your kitchen, and milk in your bathroom. When you mentally walk through your house, you can see the items in each room.
That's such a cool way to remember things. I've got to try that. So basically, it's all about being creative with how we store information in our minds?
Exactly. The more you involve your imagination, the easier it is to recall information. Our brains love patterns and images, so using techniques like the memory palace makes it fun and effective.
And I guess that's why sometimes we remember random things that we associate with strong emotions, right? Like I can remember the name of my teacher from 3rd grade, but I forget where I put my keys yesterday.
Yes, exactly. Our brains are wired to remember things that have emotional connections or strong images. So, if we use that to our advantage, learning can become a lot easier. For example, if you're trying to remember a boring fact for an exam, try to connect it with something funny or strange. The weirder the connection, the more likely you'll remember it.
That's such a fun idea, and it makes sense. The more personal or unique the information feels, the better we hold on to it. Now let's talk a bit about practice. You always hear people say practice makes perfect. But is there a way to practice more effectively when it comes to learning?
Great question. Practice is important, but the key is active practice, also known as active recall. Instead of just passively reviewing your notes or rereading a book, you need to actively test yourself on the information. For example, if you're learning history, instead of just reading the chapter over and over, close the book and try to explain what you learned out loud.
Oh, that sounds like it really pushes you to engage with the material.
Exactly. By forcing yourself to recall the information without looking, you're strengthening the connections in your brain. This is much more effective than just passively reviewing the material.
So it's not enough to just sit there and read. We need to use the information in some way to really learn it.
Exactly. The more you work with the material, whether through testing yourself, teaching it to someone else, or writing it down from memory, the stronger it sticks.
This is so helpful, Michael. Just to recap, spaced repetition, breaking things down, memory palaces, emotional connections, and active practice. It all sounds doable, and I'm sure our listeners are taking notes.
I hope so. It really is all about building good habits. Learning doesn't have to be stressful or overwhelming if you use the right techniques.
All right, it's time for our fun fact of the day. Michael, do you have something surprising for us?
Definitely. Did you know that sleep plays a huge role in memory? When we sleep, our brain organizes and stores the information we learned during the day. It's like your brain's filing system. In fact, people who get a good night's sleep after learning something new remember it better than those who don't.
Wow, that's a fun fact and a reminder to get enough sleep. So cramming all night before an exam might not be the best idea after all?
Exactly. Sleep is just as important as the time you spend studying.
Michael, thank you so much for all these amazing tips. I've learned a lot today, and I'm sure our listeners have too. Just to recap, spaced repetition, breaking things down into smaller chunks, using memory palaces, and of course getting enough sleep. These are all ways to learn and remember things more easily.
It's been a pleasure, Lisa. I hope everyone listening gives these techniques a try. Remember, learning doesn't have to be hard. It just takes the right strategies and a little patience.
Well, that's all for today, everyone. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave us a comment below. What's one thing you're trying to learn right now? We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in to English Podcast, and we'll see you next time with more tips to help you grow and learn in every part of your life. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Keep learning.
Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is spaced repetition. It means a learning technique where information is reviewed at increasing intervals to help retain it longer. Example, using spaced repetition. Emily reviewed her vocabulary words every 2 days, then every week, to ensure she remembered them for her exam. Next word is chunking. It means a strategy of breaking down large pieces of information into smaller, manageable parts to make it easier to remember. Example, by chunking the long phone number into smaller groups, Jake could easily memorize it. Next word is memory palace. It means a mnemonic device where you visualize a familiar place and associate information with different locations in it. Example, Sarah used the memory palace technique to remember her shopping list by placing items in different rooms of her house in her mind. Next word is active recall. It means a study method that involves actively testing yourself on the material rather than passively reviewing it. Example, instead of rereading the textbook, John used active recall by closing the book and trying to explain the concept to himself. Next word is cognitive load. It means the total amount of mental effort being used in the working memory. Example, breaking up the complex material into smaller sections helped reduce Tom's cognitive load while studying. Next word is visualization. It means the process of creating mental images to represent the information you're trying to learn. Example, Maria visualized the solar system in her mind to remember the names and order of the planets. The last word is retrieval practice. It means a learning strategy where you recall information from memory as a way to strengthen your knowledge. Example, retrieval practice helped Ben remember key historical dates by testing himself without looking at the notes. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Simple English Podcast. I'm your host, and today we've got something really fascinating for you. Have you ever felt stuck doing things that are super easy, like scrolling through social media or binge-watching TV shows, even when you know there are harder, more important things you need to do? Well, today we're going to talk about something that can help with that. It's called a dopamine detox. Sounds interesting, right? You're going to learn how to reset your brain and get back on track with doing hard things. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Lisa. It's great to be here. I'm excited to dive into this topic because I think a lot of people struggle with staying focused on hard tasks when there are so many distractions around us.
Exactly. And we all know that feeling of wanting to be productive but somehow ending up procrastinating. So stick around, everyone, because by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear idea of how to trick your brain into doing those hard things and feel good about it. Okay, Ryan, let's start from the basics. What exactly is dopamine, and how does it affect our daily life?
Great question. Dopamine is a chemical in our brain that's connected to pleasure and reward. When we do something we enjoy, like eating sweets, watching videos, or getting social media likes, our brain releases dopamine, making us feel good. But here's the tricky part. Activities that release dopamine are not always productive.
Right, like scrolling endlessly on Instagram. It feels good but doesn't really help us in the long run.
Exactly. Our brain loves easy wins. That's why it's easier to check your phone than to study or work. The more we rely on these quick dopamine hits, the harder it becomes to focus on tasks that don't give immediate rewards, like writing an essay or exercising.
So that's where dopamine detox comes in, right? What exactly is it?
Yes, a dopamine detox is essentially a break from these easy dopamine rewards. It's a way to reset your brain so it becomes easier to focus on more challenging tasks. Think of it like hitting the reset button. When you stop giving your brain constant, easy rewards like social media, junk food, or gaming, it starts to crave more meaningful and productive activities.
That sounds simple, but it must be hard to do. I mean, we're so used to these things. Can you walk us through how someone would start a dopamine detox?
Absolutely. The key is to start small. Here's a simple plan. Pick one day to start your detox. It could be a weekend when you have fewer responsibilities. Limit your exposure to high dopamine activities like social media, junk food, or video games. Replace those activities with healthier ones, like reading, exercising, or working on a project you've been avoiding.
So, instead of scrolling through TikTok, maybe I could go for a walk or read a book.
Exactly. At first, it might feel boring because your brain is used to those quick dopamine hits, but over time, your brain adjusts. You'll start finding satisfaction in the more challenging tasks that were hard to focus on before.
What are some common mistakes people make when trying a dopamine detox?
Good question. One big mistake is trying to quit everything at once. That's too extreme and can make you feel frustrated. It's better to slowly reduce your exposure to distractions. Another mistake is not replacing bad habits with good ones. If you just sit there with nothing to do, your brain will crave that quick dopamine fix, and you might give up.
So instead of just removing things, we should add healthier activities that still give some pleasure, right?
Exactly. For example, instead of snacking on junk food, try cooking a healthy meal. Or instead of watching TV for hours, try learning a new skill. Your brain will still get dopamine, but from activities that help you grow.
I love that idea. Now, what happens after a successful dopamine detox? How does it help us do those hard things we often avoid?
Great question. After a successful detox, your brain becomes less dependent on quick dopamine rewards. Tasks like studying, working, or exercising become easier to start and even enjoyable. You'll notice you have more focus, discipline, and energy to tackle things that require effort.
That's amazing. And this can really help with procrastination, right? Like when I know I should work on a project, but I just keep putting it off.
Exactly. Once you reduce the pull of distractions, your brain naturally finds it easier to focus on those projects that felt overwhelming before.
So, Ryan, we've talked about what dopamine is and how a detox can help. But let's dive a little deeper. How long do you think someone should do a dopamine detox? Is it just for a few hours or can it last days?
That's a great question, Lisa. The length of a dopamine detox really depends on the person and their lifestyle. Some people start with just a few hours a day, maybe cutting out distractions for the morning, and then gradually increasing the time. Others might try a full day or even a weekend. The key is to start small and make it manageable.
That's so true. It's like when people go on extreme diets. They're super strict at first, but it's hard to maintain in the long run.
Exactly. The same thing happens with a dopamine detox. If you take away all your sources of pleasure at once, your brain might rebel and make you crave those things even more. But if you ease into it, your brain starts to adjust. For example, if you're used to checking your phone first thing in the morning, you could try waiting an hour before you check it. Then maybe the next day, wait 2 hours. It's about building up your tolerance to boredom and discomfort.
I like that. Small steps instead of a sudden drastic change. That feels more achievable. Do you think this concept can help with things like fitness goals or building better habits?
Absolutely, Lisa. In fact, it's one of the best ways to build new habits. Let's say you want to start working out, but every time you plan to go to the gym, you end up watching TV instead. That's because your brain is wired to choose the easy pleasure of watching TV over the harder task of exercising. But if you do a dopamine detox, you start to train your brain to find satisfaction in those harder tasks.
That makes sense. So it's not just about cutting out distractions, it's about changing how your brain reacts to effort.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. I had a friend who wanted to learn a new language. At first, she kept procrastinating and getting distracted by social media, so she decided to do a dopamine detox. She limited her phone use to 30 minutes a day and spent the rest of the time focusing on her language lessons. After a few weeks, she found that she actually looked forward to her study sessions because her brain had started associating that effort with a sense of achievement.
That's such a great example. It shows that anyone can train their brain to enjoy hard work. It's just about being consistent and giving yourself time to adjust.
Exactly. And one last thing, don't forget to reward yourself for doing the hard work. But instead of rewarding yourself with something easy, like scrolling on your phone, try rewarding yourself with something that supports your long-term goals. Maybe you treat yourself to a nice meal or spend time doing something you really enjoy, like going for a walk or reading a book.
I love that. It's about finding new ways to enjoy life without constantly relying on those quick dopamine hits. And in the end, you'll feel more accomplished and in control of your brain.
Exactly, Lisa. The more you practice, the easier it becomes, and the more you'll realize that the hard things are often the most rewarding.
All right, Ryan, it's time for our fun fact segment. Did you know that ancient philosophers like the Stoics practiced something very similar to a dopamine detox?
Really? That's fascinating.
Yes, the Stoics believed in controlling their desires and not becoming too attached to pleasure. They would often practice self-discipline by fasting or avoiding luxury, just to train their minds to focus on what's really important.
That's so interesting. It shows that even back then, people understood the power of controlling their impulses and focusing on long-term goals.
Exactly. So if you think about it, this idea of a dopamine detox isn't new. It's just a modern twist on an ancient practice. Well, Ryan, I think we've covered a lot of great points today. To sum it all up, a dopamine detox can help you reset your brain and make it easier to focus on hard tasks by reducing your dependence on instant pleasures. It's not about eliminating fun activities forever, but giving yourself some time away from them so you can better appreciate the work that requires more effort.
That's right, Lisa. And remember, it's okay to start small, maybe just an hour a day of no distractions. Over time, your brain will adapt, and you'll find it easier to stay motivated and tackle those tough tasks.
Absolutely. So, if you're feeling stuck or find it hard to focus, give a dopamine detox a try. It might just be the reset you need to trick your brain into doing those hard things. Thanks again, Ryan, for sharing your insights with us.
My pleasure, Lisa. I hope this helps listeners take back control of their focus and motivation.
And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Simple English Podcast for more tips on productivity, health, and self-improvement. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. And the first word of today is dopamine. It means a chemical in the brain that is associated with pleasure, motivation, and reward. Example: when you achieve a goal, your brain releases dopamine, making you feel satisfied and motivated. Next word is detox. It means a process of removing harmful substances or behaviors to reset or cleanse the body or mind. Example: a dopamine detox involves avoiding distractions like social media to help reset your brain's reward system. Next word is procrastination. It means the act of delaying or postponing tasks, often those that are difficult or unpleasant. Example: many people procrastinate on important tasks because they find quick dopamine rewards in distractions. Next word is stimulation. It means something that excites or activates the mind or body. Example: constant stimulation from technology can overwhelm your brain and make it hard to focus on difficult tasks. Next word is discipline. It means the ability to control one's actions, especially to improve behavior or achieve goals. Example: developing discipline helps you stay focused on important tasks, even when they feel hard. Next word is crave. It means to have a strong desire for something, especially something that gives immediate pleasure. Example: after a long day, your brain might crave a dopamine hit from junk food or scrolling on your phone. The last word is anticipation. It means the feeling of excitement or expectation about something that is going to happen. Example: the anticipation of a reward can trigger dopamine release, even before you complete the task. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Simple English Podcast. I'm your host Lisa, and today's episode is all about making small changes that can have a big impact on your life. Who wouldn't want to live a better life, right? Sometimes it's not about doing something huge, but making small, daily habits that truly change the way we live. Today, we have a special guest, Andrew, who is here to share some simple but life-changing habits that anyone can start doing right away. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comments section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm super excited to be here. I think this is such an important topic because we often underestimate how small changes can really make a big difference.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of our listeners are curious about this too. So stick with us as we dive into habits that could totally transform your daily life, from boosting your productivity to improving your health and happiness.
And don't worry, everyone. We're not talking about extreme changes. These are easy things that everyone can do. And the best part is, they work.
So, Andrew, let's get straight into it. What's the first daily habit that you think can change someone's life?
The first habit is one we hear about often, but it's truly powerful. Waking up early. Waking up just 1 hour earlier gives you a head start. You get quiet time, and you can focus on your goals without distractions.
That sounds great, but I'm sure some of our listeners might think waking up early is too hard. Do you have any tips?
Absolutely. Start small. If you wake up at 8 o'clock a.m., try waking up at 7:45 for the first week. Then, slowly shift it to 7:30. Then, 7. It's all about creating a habit that sticks. And once you start, you'll find that extra time gives you so much freedom.
I can imagine. That extra hour in the morning could be a game changer. What do you recommend people do with that time?
It really depends on your goals, but I suggest using it to do something for yourself. It could be exercising, reading, or planning your day. For example, a friend of mine uses the extra hour to go for a run. She says it clears her mind and helps her feel energetic throughout the day.
Exercise in the morning is definitely a great way to boost energy. Speaking of exercise, is there another habit related to health that could make a difference?
Yes, another life-changing habit is staying hydrated. Drinking enough water throughout the day can improve your focus, energy, and overall health. It sounds so simple, but many people don't drink enough water.
That's true. I know people who forget to drink water during a busy day. Do you have any suggestions on how they can remember?
Yes, one way is to keep a water bottle with you at all times. You can also set reminders on your phone. One cool thing I've seen is a water bottle with time markers. It shows you how much you should drink by a certain time of day. It's like having a coach remind you to drink more water.
Oh, that's a clever idea. I might need to get one of those bottles. Now, Andrew, what about habits related to mental health? We know physical health is important, but what can we do to take care of our mind?
Great question. One habit I recommend is practicing gratitude. It's as simple as writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day. This shifts your focus from what's going wrong to what's going well in your life. Research shows that people who practice gratitude are happier and less stressed.
That's really powerful. So you're saying just a few minutes a day can change your mindset?
Exactly. It's such a small action, but over time, it changes the way you see the world. It's like training your brain to focus on the positive, and we all need that, especially during tough times.
I love that. Gratitude really does shift your mindset. I actually tried this myself during a stressful week. Every morning I wrote down 3 things I was thankful for, and by the end of the week, I felt much calmer and more focused. It's amazing how much difference it makes when you start your day with a positive attitude.
That's a great example, Lisa, and it really doesn't take much time, but it changes how you approach your day. And here's another habit that's related to mental well-being: limiting screen time, especially before bed.
Oh, that's a tough one. I know a lot of people, including me, who scroll through their phones before going to sleep. Why is that such a bad habit?
The blue light from screens can mess with your body's ability to produce melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep. If you're staring at your phone or TV right before bed, it can make it harder to fall asleep and reduce the quality of your sleep. Plus, the constant information overload from social media can make your mind race, which isn't good when you're trying to wind down.
That's so true. I've had nights where I'm scrolling and the next thing I know, an hour has passed and I'm wide awake. Do you have any tips on how to break that habit?
One strategy is to create a wind down routine before bed. Set a time, maybe 30 minutes or an hour before bed, when you put your phone away and switch to something more relaxing, like reading a book, meditating, or listening to calming music. Another option is to use apps that reduce blue light on your devices, but the best approach is really to cut down on screen time before you sleep.
I like that idea. A wind-down routine sounds much healthier than endless scrolling. And I guess starting small, like you said earlier, is key here too. Maybe just reducing screen time bit by bit?
Exactly. It's not about quitting cold turkey, it's about slowly building better habits over time. Start with just 10 minutes less screen time before bed, then increase it as you go. The important thing is to make it sustainable.
That makes sense. And I'm sure it also improves sleep quality, right?
Absolutely. Better sleep means more energy the next day, which leads to more productivity and a clearer mind. It's all connected.
That's such a good point. So, to recap, we've got waking up earlier, staying hydrated, practicing gratitude, and limiting screen time before bed. These are all great habits, but do you have one more for us, Andrew? Something that ties it all together?
Definitely. The last habit is planning your day. Take just 5-10 minutes in the morning or the night before to plan out your top tasks for the day. It helps you stay focused and gives you a sense of control. You'll feel more productive and less overwhelmed.
That's a solid tip. I've noticed that when I plan my day, I get more done and feel less stressed about what's ahead.
Exactly. It's all about prioritizing. When you know what's important, you can spend your time on things that matter and avoid wasting it on distractions.
Such a good reminder. Planning seems like the glue that holds all these habits together. Now let's take a quick break with a fun fact. Did you know that it takes, on average, 66 days to form a new habit? People used to believe it only took 21 days, but new research shows it actually takes a bit longer to make a habit stick. So don't be too hard on yourself if it feels tough at first. Consistency is key.
That's such an important point, Lisa. Many people give up too soon, thinking they're failing. But the truth is, it takes time. If you keep doing it, eventually it will become a natural part of your day.
Well, we've covered some amazing habits today, from waking up early and drinking more water to practicing gratitude. These are all small changes, but they can truly change your life over time.
That's right. The key is to start small, be consistent, and focus on progress, not perfection. Anyone can create a better life by building these daily habits, one step at a time.
Thank you so much for sharing these tips with us, Andrew. I'm sure our listeners are feeling inspired to make some positive changes.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. I hope everyone tries at least one of these habits. You'll be surprised at how much they can improve your life.
And to our listeners, remember, it's not about doing everything perfectly, but taking small steps toward a better life. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Let's keep making positive changes together. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Simple English Podcast. Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is hydrated. It means having enough water in your body to maintain health and energy. Example, staying hydrated by drinking enough water throughout the day can improve your focus. Next word is gratitude. It means quality of being thankful and appreciating what you have. Example, practicing gratitude daily helps you focus on the positive aspects of your life. Next word is melatonin. It means a hormone that regulates sleep, often affected by exposure to light. Example, using screens late at night can reduce melatonin levels, making it harder to fall asleep. Next word is consistency. It means doing something regularly or in the same way over time. Example, consistency is key when trying to form new habits, such as exercising every day. Next word is overwhelmed. It means feeling unable to manage or cope with a large amount of tasks or emotions. Example, planning your tasks in advance can help you feel less overwhelmed by your workload. The last word is prioritize. It means to decide which tasks or activities are the most important and focus on them first. Example, when you prioritize your most important tasks, you can avoid wasting time on less important activities. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to Simple English Podcast, the show where we learn and grow together. I'm your host, and today we're talking about something that affects every single one of us: confidence and self-esteem. Let me ask you, have you ever felt unsure of yourself? Maybe you're afraid to speak up, or you think you're not good enough. Well, you're not alone. But here's the good news. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you can build. And to help us figure out how to do just that, we have William with us today. Don't forget to check out the free PDF file in the comment section below to get the full transcript and new vocabulary for this episode. William, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. I'm really excited to talk about this topic because confidence and self-esteem can truly transform someone's life.
Absolutely. And if you're listening right now and wondering how to become more confident, stay with us because we'll be giving you practical tips you can use today. Let's dive right in. So, William, let's start with the basics. What's the difference between confidence and self-esteem? People sometimes mix them up.
Great question, Lisa. Confidence is more about believing in your abilities, like feeling sure you can complete a task, whether it's public speaking, playing a sport, or even talking to new people. Self-esteem, on the other hand, is deeper. It's about how you see yourself as a person, your worth. You can have confidence in certain skills but still struggle with self-esteem if you don't truly value yourself.
That's so true. I've seen people who are excellent at their job but still feel unsure about themselves. So, how can someone start improving both their confidence and self-esteem?
It starts with small actions. Confidence builds with experience. Let's say you're nervous about public speaking. If you avoid it, your fear grows. But if you start speaking in front of small groups, your confidence slowly increases. It's like building a muscle. The more you do something, the stronger your confidence gets.
That reminds me of a friend who was terrified of speaking in meetings. She started practicing by giving short updates in small group meetings, and now she even leads presentations. It didn't happen overnight, but each small step helped her gain confidence.
Exactly, Lisa. Another key is setting realistic goals. If your goals are too big, you might get discouraged. But if you break them into smaller, achievable steps, you'll build confidence along the way. And when it comes to self-esteem, it's about self-compassion. Stop being so hard on yourself. We all make mistakes, and that's okay. How you talk to yourself matters.
That's such an important point. We're often our own worst critics. But self-compassion is about treating ourselves like we would treat a friend. You wouldn't tear down a friend if they made a mistake, right?
Exactly. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, try saying, I'm still learning, and that's okay. Shifting your mindset can make a huge difference in how you feel about yourself.
I love that. And you know, I've heard people say that confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. Is that true?
Yes, 100%. When you set a goal and follow through, even on small things, like waking up early or exercising, you prove to yourself that you can do it. That consistency helps build trust in yourself, and that's where confidence grows. Think about it like this. If you keep breaking promises to yourself, it's hard to believe you'll succeed at bigger things.
That's a powerful thought. Keeping promises to yourself is like keeping promises to a friend. If you constantly let your friend down, they won't trust you. It's the same with yourself.
Exactly, Lisa. Another helpful tip is to surround yourself with people who uplift you. It's hard to feel confident if you're constantly around people who make you feel bad about yourself. Positive support goes a long way.
So true. Who we spend time with can really influence how we see ourselves. What about body language? Does it play a role in confidence?
Oh, definitely. The way you carry yourself can actually trick your brain into feeling more confident. Standing tall, making eye contact, and smiling. These small changes can make you feel more powerful and in control, even if you're nervous inside.
That's fascinating. Sometimes just changing your posture can change how you feel.
Exactly. It sends a signal to your brain that says, I've got this. So even if you're nervous, stand tall and project confidence. Your mind will catch up with your body.
Let's take a quick break for a fun fact. Did you know that even the most confident people have moments of self-doubt? It's true. Research shows that even successful people like athletes or CEOs sometimes feel nervous or question their abilities. But the difference is they don't let it stop them. They push through the doubt and take action anyway.
That's a great point, Lisa. Confidence doesn't mean never being scared or unsure. It's about feeling the fear, but doing it anyway. The more you push through, the easier it becomes over time.
So if you're listening and thinking, I could never be confident, just know that everyone feels unsure sometimes. The key is to keep moving forward. William, thank you so much for all of these amazing insights. I feel like we've covered so many helpful tips today. Building confidence through small actions, setting realistic goals, practicing self-compassion, and even using body language to boost how we feel.
It was a pleasure, Lisa. And remember, confidence is something you build over time. It's okay to start small, be kind to yourself, and take it one step at a time.
Absolutely. So, if you're listening, remember that confidence and self-esteem are like muscles. You can grow them with practice and patience. Start with one small thing today and see where it takes you. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, share this episode with a friend who might need a confidence boost, and leave us a comment with your thoughts or questions.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Keep building that confidence, and we'll see you next time.
Now it's time to learn some important vocabulary related to the topic. The first word of today is confidence. It means a belief in one's abilities or qualities. Example, after practicing her speech several times, her confidence grew and she was able to present without fear. Next word is self-esteem. It means the overall sense of one's personal value or worth. Example, even though he was good at his job, he struggled with low self-esteem and often doubted his worth. Next word is compassion. It means the ability to show kindness and understanding to oneself or others. Example, self-compassion is important when we make mistakes. Instead of being harsh, we should forgive ourselves. Next word is posture. It means the way in which someone holds their body, especially while standing or sitting. Example, improving your posture by standing tall can instantly make you feel more confident. Next word is self-doubt. It means the feeling of uncertainty about one's abilities or actions. Example, even after years of success, she still experienced moments of self-doubt, but she pushed through. The last word is body language. It means the non-verbal signals, such as posture or gestures, that communicate feelings or attitudes. Example, using confident body language, like making eye contact, can help improve how others perceive you. Thank you for listening to our episode of the Simple English Podcast. I hope you learned something new and helpful today. Please give us a like and subscribe for video like this. Share it with your friends, and let us know what you think in the comments section below. We'll be back with more interesting discussions soon.